So the Eagles just completed the biggest comeback win at the Linc ever, and yeah, therefore moved to 3-0. Now obviously Jordan Davis deserves a ton of credit, but there's several guys that may have gone under the radar that deserve a shout out also. In this video, I'll get you caught up on anything you may have missed from Sunday's action, plus look into the offense finally breaking out, minor concerns in the run game, and a key injury to another Bucs starter. Also, Howie Roseman just added help in the return game, and it sounds like Philly could be down multiple corners for Tampa. So let's talk about that, A.J. Brown's message, and the silencing of the Rams. But first, let's run it.
If that doesn't show you what type of team we are, I don't know what does.
What's up, guys? Sunday was just a movie, and we'll call it the Jordan Davis game. Or I don't know, maybe the silence of the Rams, because JD was a straight-up cannibal. I mean, the Beast had 5 tackles, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, and 1 quarterback hit. Oh yeah, and most importantly, blocked not 1, but 2 kicks along with the help of Jalen Carter, helping the Eagles beat the Rams in one of the most improbable ways you'll ever see. Seriously, according to Next Gen Stats, Los Angeles had a 91% chance to win in Philly with 12 minutes left in the third quarter, up 26-7. Which honestly, it felt like a whole lot less of a chance for the Birds to win if you were watching the game. Like we're talking about a game where the Rams scored on 6 straight drives at one point. Meanwhile, in that same span, Philly had 6 drives without a single first down. But thanks to 20 unanswered points from the offense and the Philly Dogs going all Dikembe Mutombo on LA, the Birds completed the biggest comeback for the home team ever at the Linc. You heard me right, and actually it was the biggest comeback anywhere since the 20-point deficit that the Eagles overcame back in 2010 at the Meadowlands, which due to the win gave Nick Sirianni a 4-0 record now against Sean McVay, and also the Eagles have beaten the Rams 10 of the last 11 games. However, as wild and as unbelievable as the game-winning block was, Jalen Hurts somehow knew it was going to happen while the rest of us did not.
Joshua Carty has it blocked again! This time Jordan Davis, the big man, looks for the icing on one big cake. Eagles hang on.
What? It's blocked!
No!
Oh my gosh, they blocked
Oh
it again!
my gosh!
Jordan Davis running with it the other way!
Just go
It was
down,
Jordan
JD.
Davis.
Go
He's gonna
down.
score.
There's
He's
no
gonna
need.
score.
Okay, fine.
Oh my
Just
gosh,
score.
They scored.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. There's no way they
No.
blocked it twice in a row. There's
No way.
There's
No way.
Oh my gosh. That did not
What?
just happen.
I think it took me about 8 hours before my heart rate came back to at least any sort of normal level. I'm still kind of struggling to find words for the game. So, I mean, I've just been thinking about this, but if that's us, imagine how the Rams feel. After all, this was their Super Bowl when you look at how much they'd been hyping up the game beforehand. Between the movie posters and talking about making a statement in Philly, they kind of went all in on this one. Although I won't lie, I was definitely starting to get to the point of doubting could the Eagles magically find a spark at halftime.
All good things to those who wait.
I guess that's true, and somehow miraculously the Eagles did find a way to win. But having said that, and with the win, you guys know what we're doing here. We give away 2 Eagles tickets every single time the Eagles win this season. So with the win, all you got to do is make sure to drop a like on this video. Of course, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and then go comment what was your biggest takeaway for the Eagles come from behind win. Honestly, for me, no offense to JD, but it's got to be the offensive turnaround after Jalen Hurts shared words with Kevin Patullo to change up the play calling.
Look at me. Sure. I'm the captain now.
You realize the Eagles had less than 30 yards at halftime, and we're talking about 30 yards. Yeah, and when it comes to the net passing yards, they were actually negative at that point. Or like E.J. Smith pointed out, Philly's first half on Sunday ranked 71st among the 74 games Jalen Hurts has started in terms of passing EPA. Yet then flip it around, and the second half ranked 8th in the same sample size.
If that doesn't show you what type of team we are, I don't know what does.
Hurts has got it. Touchdown Philadelphia. Second down. Brown end zone. He's got it.
We got so many good players on this team, and at times, you can feel like we're being conservative, and I don't think it should be like that. I think it should, let your killers do their thing, and play fast and play aggressive. I'm not saying that we haven't been, but me personally, that's what I would like. Obviously we're gonna run the ball and we're gonna set up the run off the pass and the pass off the run, but we have a lot of good players, and I feel like you should just let us go.
He'll look to throw to the sideline. It's Smith.
At the end of the day, somebody had to make a play. Team, they trusted me to go make it, and I made it.
I know it still didn't make sense in the first half, and yes, they can't have these slow starts, but at the same time, how great was it to see what they did in the second half and making a huge impact actually attacking the field vertically? Now look, hopefully we can officially be done with the lack of AJ and Smitty targets, because against LA marked the second time in AJ Brown's Eagles career that he was held without a catch in the first half. And you already know week 1 this season was the other instance. Honestly, I don't know if it was a new play caller, Jalen Hurts calling out KP, or KP just finally deciding to be aggressive. All I know is that whatever it was, it finally got through to the Birds offense.
People down here are starting to murmur that you don't have the balls to do it.
I don't mean this in a negative way, but we just got the ball, you know. And I think it's that simple, you know. And we just made plays and kept the momentum going, you know. Really about being on the same page, but we'll run the ball, play action, this and that, but let us go hoop. Let us go hoop.
Obviously, it's never just one guy, and I've got several players to give kudos and shoutouts to, which I'll get to, but at the same time, AJ's definitely got a point. Because Sunday was the third time in his Eagles career that he's had 100-plus yards in the second half, and the first time since 2023. And take a guess who he matched up against the last time he did that in half. Yes, the guy most of the national media kept hyping up beforehand in cornerback Emmanuel Forbes.
I practiced them, and now I don't look like I practiced them.
I'm sorry, the dude allowed a 144 passer rating against when matched up against AJ or Smitty. And watching the tape, the Eagles offense started attacking Forbes wherever he was lined up on the field. Now granted, it wasn't all on Forbes, but it played a big part to 11-6, hauling in 12 catches in the second half, along with a combined 16 targets. In case you were wondering, that was the second most targets they'd had combined since playing together, resulting in 153 yards and 2 touchdowns after the break. Not gonna lie, even saying that, it's what makes it so unbelievable that AJ had 35 yards through 2 games. I mean, there's no question about it. Brown was the best player on the field on Sunday, and especially given the fact that the defenses are going to continue to, they've shown this so far, but they're going to continue to hone in on Saquon Barkley, you have to play through AJ. Again, fortunately, it all came with a dub, and kudos to QB1 for going over to the OC to get things straightened out.
I had the reflection of whatever it takes. If it meant getting out of character, given the situation and just trying to do it, because it's the only thing that we ever cared about out there. Go out there and find a way to win the game. And so there's a lot of passion on that field, a lot to learn from on the field. And I think it's always great to be able to navigate a way to find a win. And every week is completely different. We got a great challenge coming up this week, but this is very revealing about our team, very revealing. A lot to learn from, obviously, but to be able to make plays when you need them the most, there's no such thing as luck. You make your own luck.
Like I said, the sentiments of the offense starting to look like 2023 began creeping into my head during the live stream. However, seeing the fight and grit from the squad after halftime definitely put those fears to rest and helped me sleep so much better. Just like Bear Mattress, the sponsor of today's video, can help you sleep better. After all, they're one of the longest sponsors of the channel, and it's been over a year and a half since I got my Bear mattress. Of course, there's been a good bit of change over that time, yet the one thing that's remained consistent is my sleep has never been better with Bear's premium fiberglass-free mattress customized to the way I sleep. However, don't just take my word for it, because Bear ran a survey on over 300 of their recent customers where 82% saw an improvement in their sleep quality on their new Bear mattress. And right now, they're actually running a special that's a higher discount than what's being offered on site. All you got to do is go to bearmattress.com/Philly special to take advantage of it. Here's what you do. You click on my link, take Bear's sleep quiz, and it'll remove all the guesswork on what you need. For example, I'm more of a side sleeper who likes a softer mattress, while my wife sleeps on her back and also prefers a softer mattress. And after we took the test, Bear matched us up with their Elite Hybrid mattress, so we both got what we wanted. Again, after placing the order, they shipped the mattress directly to our front door, where we were able to easily unroll and set up our new one. Also, all of Bear's mattresses are GreenGuard Gold certified, Certi Pure US certified, and EcoFlex fiberglass free. And the best part about all of this is that Bear delivers your mattress right to your door with free shipping in the US. I say it every time, but I understand it if it makes you nervous trying to go with this option, not trying it out in a store, but their 120-night sleep trial is what sold me. I'm telling you, it's totally worth it. Give it a shot. They also have a limited lifetime warranty, and they even offer financing options and flexible payment plans. For the record, you can't beat that quality. I love my Bear mattress, and I know you would too. So if you're looking to upgrade your sleep, then go to bearmattress.com/Philly special and use my code Philly special to get 40% off your Bear mattress. Oh, also, after you check out, if you'd mention the Philly special show, that would really support the channel. So again, thanks to Bear for offering this, and appreciate you guys.
That's just a great effort, man. Great effort by everybody. It was frustrating. It was challenging, but it was gritty. And everybody got together and made plays when we needed to. And that's all that matters. That's all that matters. But we will fix the things that we need to fix.
All right, question for you. I know the first half and second half couldn't be more polar opposites, but seeing the changes, the adjustments, the optimism on offense, where's your concern level at for the offense, maybe in particular for the passing game, but for the offense? We did this last week. I'm curious to get a pulse check here on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 is being the freak out, 1 is absolutely calm. Seemed like most people were in the 6 to 7 categories last week. This week, having seen what you did in the second half, where you at? And I guess what I'm getting at is, are you buying the comeback as something the Eagles are going to build off of, or was it more of a fluke? Personally, I'm with Jalen on the idea of this team recognizing their identity and taking it to opponents rather than playing not to lose, which is clearly what happened in the second half Sunday, as QB1 completed 7 of his 9 passes of 10-plus air yards in the second half for 154 yards and 2 touchdowns. So yeah, not even remotely close to the same offense before that. Since remember, over the first 10 quarters of the season, Hurts had only completed 2 passes out of his 7 attempts of 10-plus air yards. Whereas in the second half on throws past the sticks, Jalen went 10 for 15 for 169 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, and a 144.2 passer rating.
Jalen, that second half was about as good as I've seen him play. I think it's about as good as you can play. I mean, there was 3 or 4 plays in that second half that you go, that's the play of the game. That's the play of the game. The double move to A.J. Brown, the touchdown pass to A.J. Brown when he checks it, the 3rd and 10 in route to DeVonta Smith, the 4th and goal ball where he sees the safety and Davante wins on that little out route. It was just unbelievable. I love the way that they put A.J. Brown by himself on those 3rd downs and said, we got the best receiver in football, or certainly one of them. Let's go give him a chance. And the thing that stands out to me, the throws are perfect. Yeah. You know, as much as sometimes, and I've been critical of this, of being like, is Jalen Hurts that good at throwing the ball? Now, AJ going back, strong hands on some of those curl routes. But the fact that they made that adjustment to put AJ by himself and said, go win, Jalen made the plays, and I think that Fred Johnson going to right tackle was a big deal because after Lane Johnson got hurt prior, ended up getting beat up. Fred Johnson solidified it, gave Jalen. If we took Jalen out there with 14 other quarterbacks in the league and we just put him in shorts and we just watched him throw, I don't know if he would be in your top 10 as far as just watching him do that. But all that dude does is figure out what takes to win that game and goes and does it. And that's why you got to put him in your top 5 conversation.
Honestly, it's a little bit surprising, but Dan's take there is pretty spot on, especially when it comes to Fred Johnson's massive contribution to the team. Sure, it's never just one guy, but you could argue Fred had as big of a contribution as JD did on the defense. Because after Lane Johnson went down and Matt Pryor subbed in, the Birds didn't pick up a single first down and averaged 1 yard per play. Whereas once they subbed in Fred, the Eagles averaged 6.6 yards per play and scored 20 points. Again, still lots of guys who deserve credit for the offensive impact. Yet when you break it down to just the right tackles, Lane had 4 snaps, 0 hurries, 0 hits, and 0 sacks before he got injured, but Matt Pryor had 8 snaps, and out of those 8 snaps had 1 quarterback hurry, 2 sacks, and 1 stripped fumble. Compared to Fred Johnson, who had 25 snaps after that, only 2 quarterback hurries, but 0 hits and 0 sacks. So just saying, you can't really overstate Fred's effect on the game.
Shout out to Fred stepping up. Fred came in big, and that's why you make moves like that. So to get a guy like Fred back, he was a big part of our success last year when guys went banged down or banged up, and you could move him here and there. Either way, he could play guard too, but he came up big for us.
Part of the comeback for the Eagles was because of the play of Fred Johnson out here at right tackle. When Lane Johnson went out with the stinger and Matt Pryor didn't work out, he's got Jared Verse down on the ground. He had one good block after another. In the run game, in the 3rd quarter, Barkley got going a little bit. He throws Byron Young inside, and then he takes off. And Saquon gets right in his back pocket right there, and he picks up 9 important yards on 4th down. All right, you watch him right here. Watch the Eagles build this NovaCare wall right here. Like everybody, Goddard, all right? But it starts with Fred Johnson, all right? You got Steen and Jurgens and Dickerson. And right here, Jalen's got all kinds of time to make a throw. He had time in the second half when they had to do it. You can't do any better right here against Jared Verse, who's a powerful guy. You can't do any better than to put him down on the ground, all right? All legal, no holding, you name it. Like this right here, he stones Jared Verse right here. He stones him. And Jalen can make this throw on the outside to A.J. Brown for the touchdown. It was one great play after another. This is 3rd and 10. All right, you watch him right here. Like, this is excellent. Like, watch him get that hand underneath, drop the ankle right here, and Jalen can make this throw on 3rd and 10 to A.J. Brown coming back to beat Emmanuel Forbes. Like, it was amazing how well he played. Like, even this right here, this is a huge play at the end of the game right here. 2 minutes to go in the game. Here comes Verse. All right, they make this throw to Saquon on the outside, and he takes Verse and he throws him right into the trash dump right there. And he makes his throw. And then on the game winner, on fourth down at the 4, they needed to win the game. Here it is again, this time against Byron Young. He opens up the lane right here so that Jalen can deliver the ball for the game winner to DeVonta Smith. Fred Johnson stood tall. They're lucky they have him. That was a big reason why the protection was so good.
By the way, thankfully, for those asking or wondering, it sounds like Lane should be fine, as Jeff McClain reported afterward that Lane Johnson suffered a stinger to his neck, but he should be good to go next week against Tampa. However, while the Birds are pretty healthy, the same can't be said for the Bucs. After wide receiver Mike Evans suffered a hamstring injury that is expected to sideline him for at least a couple weeks, according to multiple sports doctors weighing in on social media. Granted, I guess a complete shock is possible, but with cameras catching a glimpse of the 32-year-old showing his frustration while heading to the locker room, the body language is kind of telling. Anyway, I'll keep you up to date as we get more info throughout the week, but either way, the Bucs have been decimated by injuries. Heck, they're down 2 offensive linemen for sure, and it could be 3 if left tackle Tristan Wirfs can't go. Meanwhile, for their receivers, Chris Godwin is up in the air, and Jalen McMillan is for sure out until at least week 9 due to his neck injury. Of course, we say this all the time, you always want your opponent at full strength, but I can't help recognize the stark contrast of this season's matchup compared to last year. You know, like when A.J. Brown, DeVonta Smith, and Lane Johnson were all inactive for the game. Now, this next part, I'm not sure exactly how it's going to be taken, but ESPN's Jason Dumas was told that both Adoree Jackson and Jakorian Bennett are dealing with injuries that could keep them out against the Bucs this weekend. Meaning we most likely get a look at either Keely Ringo or rookie Mag McWilliams in some sort of hybrid position and maybe move Cooper DeJean outside for the day. Not gonna lie, at least it's not like Tampa's gonna be at full strength either, but I'm curious if you had to choose, what would you go with? Do you take Cooper DeJean, you move him outside, you start Mag McWilliams, you go with Keely Ringo, he's already gotten a shot, you try him again? Let me know in the comments. Personally, my feeling is it'd be Ringo, but while that's an uncertainty, I am a huge fan of what the Eagles have planned ahead of the game Sunday in Tampa. With John Clark reporting that the Birds are changing their travel plans to get to Tampa early so they can practice on Friday to acclimate to the heat, and may even get in a workout on Saturday as well. Which, yeah, judging by last year, is 1,000% the right call, especially with this weekend calling for temps in the 100s and an ungodly amount of humidity.
It's so damn hot.
Still, though, you're right. The Bucs can be tough. Regardless of who's playing for them, whatever the temperature is, I will say that the Eagles are at least learning from this from last year, so I can appreciate the aspect of getting there early, but if they come out like they did in the first half against the Rams, it doesn't matter what team they're playing, the temperature, who's out there on the field, anything. Although just like the offense, the defense is finding itself, so there is a lot of confidence in Philly.
We adjusted our attitude. That's what it was. There was no scheme. There was nothing we could have implemented, done differently. It was just an attitude.
You guys improved to 3-0. I know you continue to say, it's a work in progress. You guys are finding your identity. What would you say this team's identity is right now?
Right now, we're just gutting them out. I think it'll pay off in the long run when we see these tight games at the end of the season and in the playoffs when it really matters.
I forgot to mention this, but the last time the Eagles blocked 2 field goals in a game happened to be on September 21st, 1975, when linebacker Bill Bergey blocked 2 against the Giants. Meaning, believe it or not, the Eagles just did it again exactly 50 years later. But if that's not crazy enough, shout out to ESP for sharing this because the Birds do have some positive vibes about them. For instance, in Week 3 in 2017, Jake Elliott hit a 61-yard field goal to beat the New York Giants. And then in Week 3 in 2024, Dallas Goedert had a 61-yard catch and run to beat the Saints, followed by Sunday's performance, which is also a Week 3 game, and a 61-yard return on a field goal block from Jordan Davis to beat LA. So yeah, all 61 yards, all crazy.
Are you saying what I think you're saying?
I don't know, it's way early, but you can feel this thing building. Also, just want to point out something we already know, but Zack Baun played a ridiculously good game on Sunday. I mean, the Bald Eagle was covering Puka Nacua and Davante Adams over the middle of the field at times, which is an insane advantage for him to be able to do that. Plus, don't look now, but the Birds have both linebackers in Baun and rookie Jihaad Campbell as top 10 graded linebackers through 3 weeks, with Baun coming in at 4th and Jihaad currently ranked in 9th. Come on, you tell me, but even with a rookie, the Eagles are very realistically back to having the best tandem with the linebacker position, and that's Jihaad Campbell just being drafted, but very realistically a possibility. And honestly, Sunday was a big checkmark for Fangio's defense as a whole. Because despite improving versus Kansas City, they still entered the contest versus Los Angeles, allowing third down conversions almost 50% of the time. Something Bill Colarulo brought up as especially noteworthy since the Rams' offense was also fourth in that category. However, in the same way that Quinyon Mitchell put the clamps on Davante Adams, the Eagles' defense responded. Check it. Quinyon Mitchell shadowed Davante Adams on 27 of 34 routes in Week 3, making it the first game of his career where he shadowed a receiver on over 60% of their routes according to Next Gen Stats. And yet all Q did was lock him up, allowing just 2 catches on 5 targets for 12 yards. Which, yeah, is insane, but the best part is that he did that after Adams kind of called him out in pregame.
He shows a lot of promise for the future, but I'm hoping I can show him a few things that he never seen, never had to deal with before today. So it'll be fun.
Okay, it's not that Adams had a terrible game. He did have the 44-yard touchdown. Granted, it was on Reed Blankenship, but he still scored a couple other opportunities. But overall, it speaks volumes. I mean, this is a massive step for Quinyon Mitchell. You think about the fact that they're having him shadow. They've done it briefly, but it's the first time, like I mentioned, over 60% of the time. And it builds that confidence for later on the season to say, hey, look, I can do this. I have this ability. And for a guy like Davante Adams to be able to fall back on and say 12 yards allowed, that's it. Yeah, it's an absolute game changer. Also, not that he's anywhere close to the same level, but Anthony DeBona did point out that Adoree Jackson has bounced back since allowing 5 receptions for 103 yards in Week 1. Because Week 2, as you know, at Kansas City was just 3 receptions on 5 targets for 26 yards. And on Sunday versus the Rams, he allowed 3 receptions on 4 targets for just 23 yards. You're right, though. Seeing Isaiah Rodgers have quite possibly the best game any human beings ever played on the gridiron was pretty tough to watch, as Zay became the first player to ever record a 99.9 PFF grade in an NFL game, thanks to a pick six, 1 fumble recovery touchdown, 2 forced fumbles, and 1 forced incompletion. Which, first off, props to my guy for the legendary performance, and then secondly, that was just about Howie Roseman's worst nightmare.
Listen, we f***ed up.
But my worst nightmare is that we let a player go and we don't know how good he is. My worst nightmare, is that a guy plays 5 plays in the preseason, someone claims him, and he goes and has this great career. Like, we better know our team. Forget about everyone else in the league right now. We better know our own team, and we better know it in a way that it's the most important decisions that we make is who's here, and understanding their strengths and weaknesses.
Look, I said it. We all said it. The vast majority of us said it back when the signings happened with Zay. You could have had him for $6 million, $7 million. It was Howie Roseman's gamble. He gambling on Kelee Ringo. Unfortunately, we can very clearly say that did not work out. However, nobody's perfect, and my glass half full approach is that if Adoree can play like he has the past 2 weeks, then CB2 is going to be more than fine. After all, a prime Jordan Davis next to Jalen Carter, who's rounding into shape, is a nightmare for the rest of the league. And then add in the linebacker play, pressures we're getting that will eventually turn into sacks, and the safeties being serviceable, and I'm not nearly as concerned as I was following Week 1.
I don't want this to be a flash play. I don't want to be a flash play player. I want to be he's an every down guy. He has the ability to stop the run, stop the pass. And then at the end of the day, we let the chips fall where they lie. But I just want to make sure that I'm available on the field. And my role coming into this year was higher. They asked more of me. And you have to work a little bit harder to answer the call. And when you come in, and I feel like I came in shape during camp and just progressing through the season, it's what they're asking me. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to win. And if that's required of me, I'm willing to do it. So you go out here, I could care less about how people feel about it. I know I feel great. And that's all it is, just coming in there, just working, being consistent. That's my big thing, is just being consistent.
Now, having said that, I get some of the comments recently saying the run game needs to improve, and it absolutely needs to be better. I mean, the inside zone running game hasn't been nearly as effective, and the interior O-line is a big part to blame for that. Look, I know Mekhi Becton was good, but there's still no excuse for this unit to have Saquon Barkley at 3.3 yards per carry through 3 games. At the same time, I'm trusting Jeff Stoutland to get things figured out, plus it's going to open up things for the running game if the passing game can do what it did in the second half on Sunday. Also, while on the topic of concerns, I agree with what Anthony was saying of it'd be nice if on special teams when the kickoff happens, we could get just a decent return to the 20 to 25-yard line because the field position battle was killer. It's amazing we won the game for so many different reasons, but that might be one of the biggest. Heck, the Birds averaged 11 yards on 5 kick returns. And for your information, the league average is 25 yards per return. Like, you saw it, but the field position was a disaster on Sunday, with 4 drives starting inside the 15-yard line. At this point, I don't know, maybe Britton Covey or another hands team guy, because it's getting to be a killer on special teams. And what do you know? Howie Roseman did sign kick returner Xavier Gipson while waiving guard Kenyon Green. I'll just say this. I am a big fan of this move because the 5'9", 189-pound returner has a lot of return ability and was actually signed by Joe Douglas back in 2023 as an undrafted free agent with the Jets. Now, I should mention, in case you're wondering, that Gipson has had some fumbling issues, which is probably what led to his release in the first place from the Jets. But if he can clean that up, he's got a lot of potential. Because on 68 career punt returns, Gipson has an average of 8.9 yards and has scored a touchdown. And he's also got 44 kick returns to his name for a 26.0 average, with that number actually going up even higher to 28.7 average since the new NFL kickoff rules. Of course, I should bring up the fact that if you look all around the league, teams are starting to rely much more heavily on the sort of bullet line drive kick that the Rams were doing on Sunday, with multiple teams experiencing the same struggles and creating some really poor field position. Look, honestly, if both teams have to deal with it, then fine, but Michael Clay does need to start trying to use the exact same strategy in the game. Anyway, all that being said, the positives are that the Eagles are 3-0, and they haven't played a complete game yet. Plus, like I say, Jordan Davis playing at an all-pro level, Jalen Carter still being far from his best, the linebacker core being 100% interchangeable with the ability to cover wide receivers, along with all the offensive output they just unlocked. Yeah, the Eagles sent a message to the NFL that's a pretty terrifying one once they put everything together. Also, shout out to Brian Schmidt for being one of the 187 people who correctly predicted Jalen Hurts as the first touchdown scorer against the Rams. And Brian, you ended up winning via the randomized spinner. All I need you to do is comment back either on this video here, DM me one of the socials, or the phillyspecialshow@gmail.com so I can confirm your info and know which jersey to get you. Now, for everyone else, I'll keep you posted this week. Injury updates, statuses, changes, everything for Tampa, so make sure to like, subscribe. Feel free to let Brian know which jersey you'd pick, by the way. But again, get in on the ticket giveaway. Make sure you're subbed. The Eagles, I mean, you get a great chance here. You look at the schedule, wins coming on the way, tons of opportunities to win tickets. You got the Bucs game, the Broncos afterwards, the Giants again, the Vikings, the Giants. Just saying, we don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but I like the Eagles' chances. We'll see you on the next one. This has been the Philly Special.
Like I should feel like I should go.